David Noble is the list manager at the Adelaide Crows, and there's already been a bit going on at your footy club, Dave, and there's a bit to come by the sounds of it. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Andy. G'day, Gazy.
Hey,
good morning.
Before we get stuck into the nuts and bolts, Gazy's been banging on for a couple of days now about this Larry Bird exception.
Oh.
No, and it would apply to, say, Paddy Dangerfield at your club, David. Sydney or another club comes in and throws some Godfather deal at Paddy Dangerfield that you can't match under your salary cap.
Yep.
But if you're allowed to pay beyond the salary cap to match it, just to match the deal, to keep a foundation player, a franchise player, or whatever you want to call it, one of your homegrown players, do you think that that's something that AFL clubs would consider endorsing if the AFL ever put it to you?
Look, I think they probably would consider it, Andy, but I guess where we're all trying to come from at the moment is to try and keep the competition as even as we can, whether it's draft, whether it's salary cap, the discussion around the COLA. So there's a whole heap of those considerations, I dare say, that, and I think with the free agency and the way we're actually seeing it work now, it probably leads itself to considering more of those types of situations that are operating through the NFL or through the NBL at the moment. Can we trade future picks? That's another aspect that we've, I guess, some people within our environment, like to throw around and discuss. So, look, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I think to try to keep the evenness of the competition is what we're probably trying to head towards, I think, as a collective at the moment.
We know you've already brought Eddie Betts into the mix. So I'm being told, David, as part of the Gillette AFL trade period, that Adelaide's actually quite keen on James Podsiadly. His name's been mentioned in a few different places at the moment, but I haven't publicly heard that the Crows are keen. Is it true that the footy club is looking at Podsiadly?
Yeah, look, we're trying to actually just re-establish, I guess, some firepower that we think we've lost over the last couple of years, and Betts was a big component of that. At the moment, we've got probably trying to work through where Sean McKernan is at the moment. He's requested to consider some of those areas. So with James coming on the market, Scotty Gumbleton's probably another one. There's certainly considerations, I guess, moving forward for us to look at, whether we explore those in the next few days. I guess our priority at the moment is trying to secure young Jared Polak, who's indicated he wants to come back home. But look, those ones with Pods and the Gumbleton, Shawnee McKernan for us, with you're looking at Walker and Jenkins that are coming off 2 leg injuries. I think, they're areas that you need to consider, and that's where the market opens up, probably in some of those smaller deals, and that would probably play out, I think, in the second or the third week.
Where's Bernie Vince at, David, in terms of trade potential? Is he on the table? Is he being discussed? Is he movable?
Oh, look, I don't think he is, Andy. I mean, he's a best and fairest showdown medalist for us. He's contracted. We think that he really adds some depth into that midfield area that we've got. His use of the ball. I mean, he actually won his best and fairest playing his best footy off a wing and half forward in the rotation through the midfield. But no, we haven't put him on the table at all in that sense. He's contracted.
His name keeps bobbing up, though, is it?
Yeah, I know. And so does the linkage with us with Xavier Ellis and Jonathan Giles and a few others. But no, we haven't certainly put Bernie on the table at all.
Okay, what about Ricky Henderson? It's another name who's obviously a really gifted and talented young player who's been improving steadily, year in, year out. Is he the source of significant interest from other clubs?
Yeah, look, he is, and I think it's based around, as you said, the talent and the way that he goes about it. But we offered Ricky, a 3-year deal a couple of years ago when he was still in contract, and we saw the development of his talent. He's a required player. We see that he has the essence of compiling that back end that we're putting together at the moment to be a real strong finals performing backline, and look, he's got a couple of years to go, and we don't see him going anywhere.
David, where do you see your list at right now overall? You had a good season a couple of years ago. You don't have because of the suspension. You're not involved in the drafts and those types of situations. Do you see yourself as a contender right now, or what phase of the so-called cycle are you at?
Yeah, you never say never, Gazy. I think as to where you think the opportunities that you can create, I think once you can build some confidence and momentum, as we saw last year with us, we think we're a really interesting. We've been very pleased this year that the games we've put into a few of the additional guys that have needed that exposure, the Griggs and the Carriages and Brown and Lairds that's come through. So we think our timing's really spot on at the moment. We think we're at the, I guess, at the bottom of the hill, ready to have a real crack at getting up that mountain to see how difficult it is. We need to play finals next year. We need to continue to expose those guys. We've just ticked over a couple of guys out of the under 50 games into that band. We've ticked over a couple into 100. Walker hasn't played 100 yet. Jacobs hasn't played 100. Sloan hasn't played 100. So we think we've got a really good, stable group at the moment that's, we think within striking distance of being able to make some real ground in finals.
Jonathan Giles was the other name I heard mentioned, that he was looking to move and that Adelaide might be looking to shore up their ruck stocks by looking at the Giants' big man. Is there any interest in him?
No, there's not. We spoke to Jonathan and his manager last year. We were keen to secure with Jonathan last year. We felt we needed some support for Sam Jacobs, and we ended up going down the path with Angus Graham, and he decided to stay. So I'm not sure where that one's come from, Andy. I actually spoke to Adrian Battiston yesterday, and no, we haven't made any approaches or have any interest in Jonathan.
Just going back to where we started to finish it off, will you be aggressive towards Podsy Adley? Is he a prime target of yours now?
Well, look, we have to. I've got list management. The difficulty I've got a little bit at the moment is the coach is away. He's over on a leadership course till Saturday. So, whether or not that becomes a consideration, I'll have to wait till Sando gets back. And I think there's a fair bit of assessment now that goes into your list as to whether or not the timing's right. I think if you have a look at the bets one for us, the timing's right. It's 4 years. We think that if that window starts to open up a bit for us, then he's able to be there and be a real key player for us in our forward line and midfield. I think the aspect for us, he averages a clearance a game. So whether or not the Podsy Adley one becomes a consideration, I think will be, will play itself out for us in the next couple of weeks.
Bit to get through, David. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, David Noble, list manager of the Adelaide Crows, who got their fingers in a few pies.